Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Janvalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jai Jaya Gurudev, Jai Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jai Jaya Gurudev. Go to Premanande.
Hari Hari Bo.
All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraya Nashta Prayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29. And today's text is text 29.2b. So we'll recite the verse together. Adristam dristavam nangshed.
Adristam
दृष्टवं नक्षे
Adristam dristavan nangshed.
अदृष्टं दृष्टवन् नक्षेद्
Bhutam svapnavar anyata.
Bhutam
भूतं
Swapnavaranyata.
स्वप्नवदन्यथा
Bhutam svapnavaranyata.
भूतं स्वप्नवदन्यथा
Bhutam bhavar bhavisyakcha.
Bhutam
भूतं
Bhavadbhavishyascha.
भवद्भविष्यच्च
Bhutam bhavar bhavisyakcha.
Bhutam Bhavadbhavishyascha.
भवद्भविष्यच्च
Suptam sarvarahoraha.
Suktam
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरहः
Suptam sarvarahoraha.
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरः
Adistam dristavan nangshed.
अदृष्टं दृष्टवन्नक्षेद्
Bhutam svapnavaranyata.
Bhutam
भूतं स्वप्नवदन्यथा
Bhutam bhavar bhavisyakcha.
Bhutam
भूतं
Bhavadbhavishyascha.
भवद्भविष्यच्च
Suptam sarvarahoraha.
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरः
Please chant.
अदृष्टं दृष्टवन् नक्षेद्
आदर्शं
Nakshed.
दृष्टवन्नक्षेत्
भूतं स्वप्नदन्यथा
Bhutam
भूतं स्वप्नावद् अन्यथा
वदन्यथा भूतं भविष्यच्च
भूतं
Bhavar
भवद्भविष्यच्च
bhavisyakcha.
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरहः
Suptam
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरहः
sarvarahoraha.
अदर्ष्टं दृष्टवन्नानक्षेत्
अदृष्टं दृष्टवन्नक्षेद
भूतं स्वप्नवद् अन्यथा
Bhutam
भूतं
Swapnavaranyata.
स्वप्नवदन्यथा
भूतं भावद्भविष्यच्च
भूतं भवद्भविष्यच्च
सुप्तं सर्वरहोरहः
सुप्तं
Suktam
सर्वरहोरहः
Sarvarahoraha. Adristam Dristavam Nakshet.
अदृष्टं
दृष्टं
दृष्टवन्नक्षेद्
दृष्टवन्नानक्षत्
Bhutam swapnavad anyatha.
Bhutam swapnavadanyatha.
Svapnavadanyatha.
Bhutam bhavad bhavishyascha.
Bhutam bhavad bhavishyascha.
Suptam sarvarahoraha.
Suktam
Suptam
Sutam
sarvarahoraha.
sarvarahoraha.
Thank you, everyone. Let's move to word for word. Adristam,
Adristam.
Adristam.
future happiness.
Future
Future
happiness.
happiness.
Dristavat,
Dristava.
Dristavad.
like direct experience.
Like
Like direct experience.
Nankshet,
Nang
Langshed.
becomes vanquished.
becomes
Becomes vanquished.
Bhutam,
Bhutam,
Bhutam.
the material existence.
the material.
The material existence.
Swapnavat,
Swapnava,
Swapnavat.
like a dream.
like a dream.
Like a dream.
Anyata,
Anyatha,
Yatha.
otherwise.
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 Bhutam,
Bhutam,
Tam.
which happened in the past.
which happened in
Which happened in the past.
Bhavat,
Bhavat,
Bhavat.
present.
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 Bhavisyat,
Bhavishyat,
Bhavishyat.
future.
future.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
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 Sutam,
Suptam,
Suptam.
a dream.
a dream.
A dream.
Sarva,
Sarva,
of all.
of all.
Of all.
Raha, raha,
Raha,
Raha, raha.
the secret conclusion.
the secret
The
conclusion.
secret conclusion.
Translation, please repeat. Everything happening within time,
Everything happening,
Everything happening within time,
which consists of past, present, and future,
which
which consists of past, present, and future,
and future.
is merely a dream.
is merely
is merely a dream.
That is the secret understanding in all Vedic literature.
That is the
That
secret.
is the secret understanding in
all
all
Vedic
Vedic
literature.
literature.
Thank you. Purport, please listen. Factually, all material existence is only a dream. Thus, there is no question of past, present, or future. Persons who are addicted to kamakanda vichara, which means working for future happiness through fruitive activities, are also dreaming. Similarly, past happiness and present happiness are merely dreams. The actual reality is Krishna and service to Krishna, which can save us from the clutches of Maya. For the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Mameva ye prapabhyante mayam itam taranti te. Those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond my illusory energy. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 29th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Talks Between Narada and King Prachina-Bharhi. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshulunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Satarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome everyone. Welcome to class. We're up to the last part of this story within a story, within Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And here Maitreya Rishi and Vidura are speaking on the topic, on the subject matter of Narada Muni retelling the story of King Puranjana, in fact to King Prachina-Bharhi. And it's the story of the city of 9 gates. And it's actually the story of all of us. We are King Puranjana. And so it's been a very long learning the last several months of this topic, King Puranjana's story. So again, welcome everyone to class, and thank you all for your attendance, and thank you all for this opportunity to glorify Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Before we begin, please may I ask for your blessings and also for your forgiveness if I make any mistakes or offenses. So we'll start by reading that translation again. Everything happening within time, which consists of past, present, and future, is merely a dream. That is the secret understanding in all Vedic literature. And today marks the conclusion of this chapter and the incredible learning that has been going on for King Prachinhabharhi, who's been told this allegorical story of King Puranjana. And we know, as we progress, this is actually the story of ourselves, each and every one of us, and our city of 9 gates, our senses, and how we negotiate the world. So it is now the great sage Narada Muni who has had the utmost compassion toward the king, knowing full well that he's been very much misguided in his use of karmakanda activities. So those fruitive activities, seeking something in return from God. And he's seen that to be a major fault with the king. So through his compassion, he now very mercifully has imparted this incredible truth, this wisdom, this Vedic knowledge, culminating in the understanding that actually it's bhakti yoga, it's Krishna consciousness that is everything for the devotee. And it's this wondrous learning journey that has actually been for our eternal benefit. The speaker, the listener, the reader of Bhagavatam, anyone hearing this Vedic knowledge, there is a transcendental benefit to be had. So for all the audience of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, such mercy is actually given to us via these stories and via this story of King Puranjana, so that we may come to know who we really are and who God really is and how we can go and be with him. So from today's verse, life here in this time and place is just like a dream. And this is the secret of this Vedic knowledge. The entire material existence is but a dream with no past, present, or future. Most of us are working really, really hard for the fruits of our labor. And we are addicted to this because we believe that through our hard work and effort, so many rewards await us. Everything that we want now and all our desires in the future can be fulfilled from our hard work. But this is karmakanda vichara, working for future happiness. That's also just a dream. Past, present, and future, they're all dreams only. Our true reality is Lord Sri Krishna. Our true reality is rendering loving devotional service unto him and growing our Krishna consciousness in this lifetime. This is our only true eternal reality. It is only our engagement in and practice of bhakti yoga that will save us from this time and place and this maya. So Krishna himself says, those who surrender unto him, they will leave this place and finally return to him. So the topic for today's class is fairly straightforward. It's about how our Krishna consciousness is in fact the only reality, because it is actually eternal, unlike our lives here in the material world, which are but temporary. So I found a few readings today to share that I thought really illuminated this topic very nicely. So just 2 or 3 readings I'll share, and then we'll have time for discussion at the end. So our first reading is titled Our Dream Life, and it's from our Back to Godhead website, and it's a very beautiful article written by Her Grace Vishaka Devi Dasi. She's the Temple President of Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, England. Yes, so it's called Our Dream Life. Until we realize our spiritual identity, we're essentially asleep. From a Krishna conscious perspective, we may be dreaming far more than we know. And according to Krishna conscious scriptures, we have 3 states of consciousness. Jagrata, the life we're most aware of, our apparently awakened state, during which we go about our regular activities. Svapna, the sleeping state in which we dream. At this time, the machinery of our gross body continues to work while our subtle body carries us, the soul, to another atmosphere. But because the gross body has to continue, the subtle body, mind and intelligence, and soul return to our present gross body. Often, when returning to the gross body, we forget our dream. Shushupti, the dreamless state of sleep, and the unconscious state when the soul is in the mother's womb and a fetus is developing around it. We also experience Shushupti when we take an anesthetic for a surgical operation and when the material world becomes unmanifested at the time of annihilation. None of these states of consciousness, wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep, are substantial, as all 3 are simply displays of various phases of material life, which is temporary. In that sense, all 3 states are dreams, because the lasting reality is that each of us is an eternal soul, temporarily inhabiting a material body and mind. Srila Prabhupada explains, you are taking this daydream as reality because the duration is long. At night when you dream, the duration is for half an hour, and this daydream is for 12 hours or more than that. That is the difference. It's a 12-hour dream, and the other is a half-hour dream. But actually, both of them are a dream. And because it is a 12-hour dream, you are accepting it as real. This is called illusion. That's from a morning walk on January 9th, 1974 in LA. In other words, our material body and mind are temporary, while the eternal soul who animates the body and mind, are eternal. Thus, our material body and mind are something like a passing dream. In a dream, we suffer because we're chased by an attacker, but actually, there is no attacker. We have created some situation in a subtle form and suffer the consequences. But a person who's awake knows that there's no attacker. The attacker is a myth for both the person dreaming and the person awake. But the sleeping person takes the myth as reality. The awakened one knows better. When we awaken from a dream, we separate ourselves from the activities we had in the dream. We realize that those activities were mental concoctions. Similarly, when we are liberated from the material concept of life, that is, when we awaken to our spiritual identity, we become free of the bodily concept of life. Then, no longer identifying with the gross or subtle material bodies, we are relieved of both our nighttime and daytime dreams. We are no longer affected by the happiness and distress of material life. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 3.27.25 says, in the dreaming state, one's consciousness is almost covered, and one sees many inauspicious things. But when he is awakened and fully conscious, such inauspicious things cannot bewilder him. In the purport that follows, Srila Prabhupada explains, in the condition of dreaming, when one's consciousness is almost covered, one may see many unfavorable things which cause disturbance or anxiety. But upon awakening, although he remembers what happened in the dream, he is not disturbed. Similarly, the position of self-realization or understanding of one's real relationship with the Supreme Lord makes one completely satisfied. And the three modes of material nature, which are the cause of all disturbances, cannot affect him. In contaminated consciousness, one sees everything to be for his own enjoyment. But in pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he sees that everything exists for the enjoyment of the supreme enjoyer. That is the difference between the dream state and wakefulness. The state of contaminated consciousness is compared to dream consciousness, and Krishna consciousness is compared to the awakened stage of life. With a bit of introspection, we can discern that we, the spirit soul, are different from the body and mind that experience the three states of consciousness. We perceive that in Jagrata, or the awake state, we enjoy or suffer the characteristics of our material body. Similarly, in Svapna, or the dreaming state, we enjoy or suffer similar experiences within the mind. And then in Shushupti, deep, dreamless sleep, we are unaware of everything. But remembering and contemplating our succession of wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep, we realize that we are observing these three states. We remember, I saw so many things in my dream, and then my dream ended, and I didn't see anything. Now I'm waking up. Therefore, we are ultimately the experiencing agent, or the seer, a separate, transcendent observer of all three phases of consciousness. In this way, we realize that our actual identity is separate from the material body and mind. Once we even theoretically accept that we are a spiritual being, separate from and transcendental to the temporary body and mind, then in spite of being within a material body, we will be less disturbed by the happiness and suffering of that body. We'll begin to see material experiences in the same way a person who has just awakened from a dream sees his or her dream experiences. By properly identifying ourselves as Krishna's eternal servant, we'll become relieved of our false material identity. And then the miseries of illusory existence will lessen, just as the anxiety of a troublesome dream lessens as soon as we awaken. Sometimes in a dream, we imagine that we have awakened. Similarly, we consider ourselves conscious of our eternal identity as Krishna's part and his eternal servant. But if we remain absorbed in material life rather than in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, we are actually still dreaming. In Krishna's words, according to my instructions, one should fix the mind on me alone. If, however, one continues to see many different values and goals in life, rather than seeing everything within me, then although apparently awake, one is actually dreaming due to incomplete knowledge, just as one may dream that one has awakened from a dream. That's from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.13.30. Another way to look at our situation in this world is to consider that Krishna is eternal. We are eternal, and our dealings with Krishna are also eternal. Our relationship and exchange of loving service with Krishna are eternal. But somehow or other, we have allowed that relationship to be interrupted by Maya or illusion, which is called svapna, a dreamlike state. As a dream is not factual, it's a hallucination. Similarly, our detachment from Krishna is also a hallucination. At any moment, we can revive our Krishna consciousness simply by waking up to the fact that I have nothing to do with anything material. I am Krishna's servant. When a nightmare becomes intolerable, we break it. Similarly, we can break our material connection at any moment and awaken to the fact that we never were separated from Krishna. Our original and eternal position is that we are always with him. As soon as we forget this, illusion is there. Just as when we sleep, we dream. Transcendental dreams. Srila Prabhupada instructed his followers not to take their dreams very seriously. He wrote in a letter that they were not very important matters. He continued, but if we occasionally dream of Krishna, that is nice. That means you are making advancement in Krishna consciousness. But do not take such things very seriously. The important business is to become conscious of Krishna all the time by absorbing the mind, body, and words in pleasing Krishna. And that means following strictly the regulative principles and practices of devotional service, such as chanting, reading, attending arti, going for street sankirtan, like that, and engaging oneself full-time in some work for Krishna. In this way, you will become too much busy serving Krishna. Prabhupada explained that one who is spiritually advanced will dream of Krishna and sometimes receive instructions from the Lord or his devotee in his or her dreams. Sometimes he tells his devotee in a dream that his temple and his garden are now very old and that he cannot enjoy them very nicely. Thus he requests the devotee to repair them. Sometimes he is buried in the earth, and as if unable to come out himself, he requests his devotee to rescue him. That's from Bhagavatam 6.19.5 within the purport. These dreams of pure devotees are on the transcendental plane, but because the devotees are still in the material world, they consider them to be dreams. In these dreams, the Lord talks with the advanced devotee, and the advanced devotee sees him. Unlike mundane dreams, these dreams are factual. They are reality that appears to be dreams. Srila Prabhupada once gave a personal account of such dreams that he had had. In my family life, when I was in the midst of my wife and children, sometimes I was dreaming my spiritual master that he's calling me, and I was following him. When my dream was over, I was thinking, I was a little horrified. Oh, Guru Maharaj wants me to become a sannyasi. How can I accept sannyas? At that time, I was feeling not very satisfied that I have to give up my family and have to become a mendicant. At that time, it was a horrible feeling. Sometimes I was thinking, no, I cannot take sannyas. But again, I saw the same dream. So in this way, I was fortunate. My Guru Maharaj, and Prabhupada begins to cry with a choked voice, pulled me out from this material life. I have not lost anything. He was so kind upon me. I have gained. I left 3 children. I have got now 300 children. From an impromptu talk in Seattle, 1968, after Prabhupada learned of the passing of his godbrother, Bhakti Prajnana Keshava Maharaj. The Lord's dream. As a devotee's dream is in fact a spiritual reality, the Lord's dream is the reality of all of us. For this entire creation is the dream of God, Mahavishnu, a plenary expansion of Krishna. The Brahma Samhita 5.47 describes Ya Karna Karan Nanavar Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidram Anta Jagad Anda Saroma Kupa. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, reposing in the casual ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hair, enjoys creative sleep, yoga nidra. In his sleep, the Lord manifests this entire creation. In other words, this creation, which we take as reality during our Jagrata phase, is the Lord's dream. In the illusion of his dream, Srila Prabhupada's disciples write in their purport to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10.86.45, a sleeping person creates an apparent world, complete with cities populated by the fictional products of his imagination. In somewhat the same way, the Lord manifests the cosmos. Of course, the creation is not illusory for the Lord, but it is for those souls who are put under the control of his Maya potency. As her service to the Lord, Maya deludes the continued souls into accepting as real her temporary, insubstantial manifestations. The Lord, however, as the supreme creator of the material worlds, is unaffected by them and all that occurs within them. Similarly, a self-realized person or a devotee, knowing well that this material cosmic manifestation is a temporary, illusory creation, is unaffected by it and all that goes on within it. The material world is like a phantasmagoria, but behind this creation, there is reality, the spiritual world. A devotee is interested in that spiritual world where everything and everyone is awake and free of all illusions. And that ends that article written by Her Grace Vishaka Devi Dasi. Very nice, very enlightening to have that understanding of those 3 different dream states, but also confirming this is not this place, this earth planet, these lives that we think we are leading. It's not reality. Our reality is in Goloka Vrindavan with Lord Sri Krishna. However, Maya has her duty. I do hope you listened to that reading. I didn't write a summary because there's a little bit more to get through. I wanted now to actually, there was more than enough material to read on, so I had to use some discernment to try and just cut to the chase. I hope I have to a degree. So, in saying that, I'll now read an excerpt from the Science of Self-Realization in Chapter 1, titled Learning the Science of the Soul. And in this little section, I'm just going to read a little snippet titled, Your Original Consciousness is Krishna Consciousness. And it's a little interview Srila Prabhupada did. Let me read. Your original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada tells freelance reporter Sandy Nixon, now your consciousness is covered with so much rubbish, you have to cleanse it, and then Krishna consciousness. Our consciousness is like water. Water is by nature clear and transparent, but sometimes it becomes muddy. If you filter all the mud out of the water, it again comes to its original clear, transparent state. Ms. Nixon, my first question is very basic. What is Krishna consciousness? Srila Prabhupada, Krishna means God. We are all intimately connected with him because he is our original father. But we have forgotten this connection. When we become interested in knowing what is my connection with God, what is the aim of life, then we are called Krishna conscious. Ms. Nixon, how does Krishna consciousness develop in the practitioner? Srila Prabhupada, Krishna consciousness is already there in the core of everyone's heart, but because of our materially conditioned life, we have forgotten it. The process of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, revives the Krishna consciousness we have already. For example, a few months ago, these Americans and European boys and girls, they did not know about Krishna. But just yesterday, we saw how they were chanting Hare Krishna and dancing in ecstasy throughout the whole Rath Yatra procession, an annual festival sponsored by the Krishna Conscious movement in cities around the world. Do you think that was artificial? No. Artificially, nobody can chant and dance for hours together. They have actually awakened their Krishna consciousness by following a bona fide process. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22.107. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabor Naya Shravandi Sudha Site Karaye Udaya. Krishna consciousness is dormant in everyone's heart. And when one comes in contact with devotees, it is awakened. Krishna consciousness is not artificial. Just as a young boy awakens his natural attraction for a young girl in her association. Similarly, if one hears about Krishna in the association of devotees, he awakens his dormant Krishna consciousness. Ms. Nixon, what is the difference between Krishna consciousness and Christ consciousness? Srila Prabhupada, Christ consciousness is also Krishna consciousness, but because at present people do not follow the rules and regulations of Christianity, the commandments of Jesus Christ, they do not come to the standard of God consciousness. Ms. Nixon, what is unique about Krishna consciousness among all religions? Srila Prabhupada, primarily, religion means to know God and to love him. That is religion. Nowadays, because of a lack of training, nobody knows God. What to speak of loving him? People are satisfied simply going to church and praying, oh God, give us daily bread, give us our daily bread. In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, this is called a cheating religion because the aim is not to know and love God, but to gain some personal profit. In other words, if I profess to follow some religion but I do not know who God is or how to love him, I am practicing a cheating religion. As far as the Christian religion is concerned, ample opportunity is given to understand God, but no one is taking it. For example, the Bible contains the commandment, thou shalt not kill. But Christians have built the world's best slaughterhouses. How can they become God conscious if they disobey the commandments of Lord Jesus Christ? And this is going on not just in the Christian religion, but in every religion. The title Hindu, Muslim, or Christian is simply a rubber stamp. None of them knows who God is and how to love him. Ms. Nixon, how can one tell a bona fide spiritual master from a fake? Srila Prabhupada, Whoever teaches how to know God and how to love him, he is a spiritual master. Sometimes bogus rascals mislead people. I am God, they claim. And people who do not know God or what God is, believe them. You must be a serious student to understand who God is and how to love him. Otherwise, you will simply waste your time. So the difference between others and us is that we are the only movement that can actually teach one how to know God and how to love him. We are presenting the science of how one can know Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by practicing the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. They teach us that our only business is to love God. Our business is not to ask God for our necessities. God gives necessities to everyone. Even to one who has no religion. For example, cats and dogs have no religion, yet Krishna supplies them with the necessities of life. So why should we bother Krishna for our daily bread? He is already supplying it. Real religion means to learn how to love him. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.6 says, Savarpusham paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahaituki apratihata ya ayatma suprasidati. First class religion teaches one how to love God. Without any motive. If I serve God for some profit, that is a business, not love. Real love is God. Real love of God is ahaituki apratihata. It cannot be checked by any material cause. It is unconditional. If one actually wants to love God, there is no impediment. One can love him whether one is poor or rich, young or old, black or white. Ms. Nixon, do all paths lead to the same end? Srila Prabhupada, no. There are 4 classes of men. Excuse me. The karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the bhaktas. And each achieves a different goal. The karmis work for some material profit. For example, in the city, many people work hard day and night, and their purpose is to get some money. Thus, they are fruitive workers, or karmis. A jnani is a person who thinks, why am I working so hard? The birds, bees, elephants, and other creatures have no profession, yet they are also eating. So why should I unnecessarily work so hard? Rather, let me try to solve the problems of life, birth and death, old age and disease. Jnanis try to become immortal. They think that if they merge into God's existence, then they will become immune to birth, death, old age, and disease. And yogis try to acquire some mystic power to exhibit a wonderful show. For instance, a yogi can become very small. If you put him into a locked room, he can come out through any little space. By showing this kind of magic, the yogi is immediately accepted as a very wonderful man. Of course, Modern yogis simply show some gymnastics. They have no real power. But a real yogi has some power, which is not spiritual but material. So the yogi wants mystic power, the jnani wants salvation from the miseries of life, and the kami wants material profit. But the bhakta, the devotee, doesn't want for anything for himself. He simply wants to serve God out of love. Just as a mother serves her child, there is no question of profit in a mother's service to her child. Out of pure affection and love, she cares for him. When you come to this stage of loving God, that is perfection. Neither the kami, the jnani, nor the yogi can know God, only the bhakta. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Bhaktyamam abhi janati. Only through the process of bhakti can one understand God. Krishna never says one can understand him by other processes. No, only through bhakti. If you are interested in knowing God and loving him, then you must accept the devotional process. No other process will help you. Ms. Nixon, transformation does one undergo on the path? What transformation does one undergo on the path? Srila Prabhupada, no transformation. Your original consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Now your consciousness is covered with so much rubbish. You have to cleanse it, and then Krishna consciousness. Our consciousness is like water. Water is by nature clear and transparent, but sometimes it becomes muddy. If you filter all the mud out of the water, it again comes to its original clear, transparent state. So I'll end there for that reading. Very nice. Sorry, and I did obviously get a little caught up in the emotion there because it's so beautiful. When I read what Srila Prabhupada writes, it goes straight to my heart. So just for the last 5 minutes, our very last reading for today is a letter by Srila Prabhupada, in which this quote belongs. Krishna consciousness is the only truth that exists. Without Krishna consciousness, everything is illusion. You must not waste this life away thinking that everything belongs to you. Everything belongs to Krishna, and it must be used in his service. So this is a letter written March 18th, 1975, to a devotee residing in Pittsburgh, USA. And Srila Prabhupada wrote it from Bombay. My dear Lata Devi Dasi, please accept my blessings. I'm in due receipt of your letter and have noted the contents. Krishna consciousness is the only truth that exists. Without Krishna consciousness, everything is illusion. You must not waste this life away thinking that everything belongs to you. Everything belongs to Krishna, and it must be used in his service. Even your body and mind belong to Krishna, and it must be used for Krishna's glorification. Otherwise, if you use your body or your mind any other way, you will have to suffer so many future miseries, such as rebirth, etc. So, I request you to please try and chant 16 good rounds daily and to follow the 4 regulative principles, as well as to read my books carefully and give up all these foolish ideas. If you sincerely try to do this, Krishna will reciprocate by giving you the necessary intelligence and determination. to carry on in Krishna consciousness. I hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So that's a very nice, again, confirming, our reality, our truth is Krishna consciousness. And for the burgeoning practitioner, for the seasoned veteran devotee, their heart, soul, mind, words, everything should now be focused on Krishna, glorifying Krishna's pastimes, and the pastimes of his devotees who glorify Krishna. And this story within a story, this King Puranjana story, which is now finally wrapped up, we can take so many lessons, so many incredible lessons. But from today's class, the message, the notion, if you like, was one of how our Krishna consciousness is in fact the only reality, because it is actually our eternal self, unlike this temporary material world and these temporary lives we lead. So I'll stop there. If there are any questions or comments, or if I've wandered off down a tangent, please do open your mic and share your realizations. That would be nice on this topic. Or if you have any questions or needing further clarification, please ask. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Oh, I'm going to show you something. The last nearly 3 weeks have been crazy. We've done a whole house renovation, and I finally got my altar set up. So I'm going to share it. Jai Shri Shri Gaunitai.
Hare Krishna, Jamuna.
Haribol Mataji.
Hari Bol, beautiful class as usual.
Oh,
Thank you very much for all your preparation and reading, especially those articles from Vishakha Devi and letters of Prabhupada and other things over there. Such a beautiful class. So much to digest, actually, and so much to read. By listening to one class, actually, I can say for myself, I am not able to really digest much. I have to just go slowly. But the only thing which we have to remember that whatever is in this material creation, everything is temporary. We don't say that it's like, illusion or anything, but it is there. But it's all the temporary. But actual thing which is reality is Krishna consciousness. And we are so fortunate to come to this Krishna consciousness, and we are eternally, thankful, and our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters who have given us understanding of this Krishna consciousness in the form of hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita and all these references you have given from Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's so nice, that what we need to do is hear and read, because if we don't do that, the one class is not going to actually make much difference in our life. So we need to listen to them, read about them regularly, which is very important. And that's my Guru Maharaj said that you must read Srila Prabhupada's book at least 1 hour a day. And if you look at 1 hour, you can listen to a lecture, you can read maybe, one chapter or something like that. But regular sadhana, that's it, very important. And like, mentioned, like we have to have our 16 good rounds and follow regulative principles. And third is, of course, reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And thank you very much again for all your efforts and bringing us so much of material for us to go through. I will try to do that surely. Thank you very much again. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kadambini Mataji. You always give very positive feedback. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Are there any other questions or comments? Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Haribol,
Danda Pranam,
Mataji.
Mataji. Mataji, we thank you so much for the lovely class. Every sentence and everything, whatever you read, whatever you spoke was so nectarian, like divine. I don't have any question as such, but I was thinking how we all can develop that love for the Lord. We are doing the sadhana bhakti, we are trying to do it, but yes, we are trying to progress in that direction.
Yeah.
Godspeed.
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 That's right. That's right. We want God's speed behind our self-realizations. Yeah. Thank you,
And this is what
Arundhati.
happens, Mataji. You know, same thing, like when we read it with full concentration and full devotion, tears start falling. Same
Yeah,
thing
it's
happens.
true. Sorry, that's true.
Same things happen with when we are chanting. You know, I try to just look at the picture. The moment I just close my eyes nicely and start imagining Golok Vrindavan, Lord Krishna, Srimati Radharani, their effulgence, and then you become emotional. So in that case, we are not able to, like I especially, I'm not able to complete my chanting. So I just keep myself away from that. I don't know, Guru Maharaj will guide me. So thank you so much for the beautiful class, Mataji. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Arundhati. Yeah, it's okay to have emotions when we are deep in our spiritual sadhana. That's okay. It's you know, in the material world, when we cry or show emotions, it's somehow seen as a sign of weakness. I think in spirituality, it shows a sign of connectedness. You're connecting with what you're reading if you are becoming emotional by it. So it's very nice. Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll stop there. All glories to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everyone.